Bring our awareness into our sit bones. We'll try to get our weight evenly balanced between both sit bones. And we want to almost feel like our pelvis is tilting a little bit forward so we have that natural curve in our lower back, rather than sitting in the front, in the middle of the chair. We're coming to the front of the front edge of the chair. If it's comfortable, you can close the eyes. And we'll start by just arriving on our mat. Feeling your feet on the floor. Noticing your hands wherever they're resting. And then noticing the sensations of your breath. Maybe you notice them in the belly, the chest. Or maybe you can feel that steady stream of air coming in and out of the nostrils. As you sit here and breathe, can you invite your shoulders to relax away from your ears? Invite the back of the neck to be long by tucking your chin in slightly. Inviting the lower hinge of your jaw to relax. Muscles in your brow to soften. And all the layers of your belly to relax. We'll invite our hips to soften. Any holding or tension you feel in the legs to relax. The feet. If you'd like to set an intention for your practice, we'll take a few moments to see if there's anything that resonates with you. Maybe you'd like to feel a little bit more spry after your practice. Maybe you'd like to take this hour as an opportunity to bring a little bit more joy into your life, into your day. Maybe it's something just as simple as being present, focusing on your strength or your balance. If you don't want to set an intention, just focusing on the breath. Take a few more deep breaths here. Breathing in through the nose. Maybe letting out a sigh as you exhale. Let's take 2 more big deep breaths together. And then we'll lower our chin down towards our chest, reaching through the back of the neck. If your hands are resting on your lap, we'll just invite them down by our sides. Inviting the shoulders to be level, reaching through the back of the neck. One more deep breath here. And then we're going to start to move our head gently from side to side, bringing our right ear towards our right shoulder, and then our left ear towards our left shoulder. Trying to keep both shoulders level. Finding whatever pace works best for you. Next time that right ear reaches over towards your right shoulder, we're going to pause here. And then let's take our right hand to the left side of our head. And then we're going to press our head up into our hand. So we're lengthening through the back of the neck. Relax the shoulder, relax the jaw. And one more big breath here. With your next inhale, let's slowly bring our head back up to center. And then we're going to take that right hand and grab our chair. Now we're going to twist over towards the left. So this right shoulder is going to reach towards that left knee. You can hold here. If it feels good, you can come in and out of this twist. Grounding down through those sit bones, keeping the back of the neck long. One more deep breath. Maybe you want to hold in that twist. Option to take that left hand to the back of your chair. One more breath here. And then coming back to center. Take a moment. Maybe you want to wiggle it out. And then let's tuck that chin in again. Reach it down towards the chest, reaching through the back of the neck. Holding here for 2 deep breaths. Trying to find your weight evenly balanced between both sit bones. And then keeping the back of the neck long, we're going to slowly slide our head back over top of our shoulders. We'll take our hands now, find our collarbone. You can either find the skin or just grab on top of the shirt. We're going to gently pull the skin down towards the floor as we lift our chin up towards the ceiling. Option to find stillness here. Maybe you want to wiggle your chin from side to side. Option could also be to move that lower hinge of your jaw forward, like you're making an underbite, and then wiggling it from side to side. One more deep breath here. As you exhale, let's release those hands. Give them a shake if you'd like. And then keeping the back of the neck long, we'll reach our right ear towards our right shoulder now. Take our right hand now to the left side of our head. Sorry, wrong side. We're going to bring that left ear now to the left shoulder. Take that left hand to the right side of our head. And then reach your head up into your hand. Ground down through those sit bones. Lengthen through the back of the neck. Relax the shoulder. One more deep breath. And with your next inhale, we'll slowly bring the head back up to center. That left hand now is going to reach behind you, grabbing to the back of your chair. And then we're coming into a twist. The left shoulder reaches towards that right knee. Option to hold, or maybe you want to twist in and out. Keeping the back of the neck long. Big breaths here. Option to hold. Maybe you want to take that other hand now to the back of your chair. Lengthening through the spine. Last breath here. And then we'll come back to center. Take our hands to our knees now. And then let's curl our chin in towards our chest and round our body towards our chair. Starting with the upper back, going all the way down to the hips. Once you can't round anymore, starting with the hips, we'll start to curl our spine in the other direction, grounding down through the feet. And lifting those collarbones up. Each time, let's initiate the movement from the hips. Let's go one more time in each direction. And then we'll find the front edge of our chair again in our neutral pelvis. Taking our hands out to either side, palms facing up. And now let's reach through the fingers. Inhale and start to reach our arms up. Good. Then we'll exhale, reach those palms back down. And we're going to continue that movement, reaching our arms a little bit more forward each time, extending through those fingers. Find a pace that works well for you. Once you have those arms all the way in towards center, then we'll start to make our way back out. If your arms get tired, go ahead, take a break. You can join back in when you're ready. Whenever you're finished, there's no rush. We'll let those arms rest down and find some shoulder circles. Bringing our awareness into those shoulder blades, squeezing them together, and then widening them apart. And then we'll switch directions. Okay, now we'll take one hand to our chair, doesn't matter which one. And then the other hand, we'll take that palm facing up again, reach those fingers away from our body, and then we'll inhale, reach that arm up and over. And then as we exhale, we'll sweep it down. Let's do that same arm again. Inhale up and over. Option to add a little bit of rotation if that feels good. Sweeping that arm down whenever you're ready. Continuing with this side motion, or maybe if it feels good, you could also sweep that arm through center. Let's do one more on this side. And then we'll switch sides. So we're extending that arm away from our body, reaching through those fingertips. Option to add any rotation. We're trying to ground down through those sit bones. Option to sweep that arm anywhere that feels good. Let's flow with the breath here. 2 more deep breaths. Whenever you're finished, taking a moment to just pause, see if you feel any new sensations in the shoulders, the arms. And then we're going to widen our feet a little wider than hip width apart. And then windshield wiper our knees, letting our knees fall down one at a time. The feet can just follow along. And then let's walk those feet back in. And then we're going to do some knee circles. Option to just lift the leg and then rotate that knee, or maybe you want to interlace the fingers underneath that thigh. We'll try to just let the foot and lower leg be heavy. Let the knee lead the movement. Relax the shoulders. One more breath. And then we'll switch directions. Good. Now we'll extend that leg. And then we're going to internally and externally rotate that leg. So we're pressing the heel down, and then the toes are reaching from side to side, but the whole leg bone is also internally and externally rotating. One more breath here. And then we'll step that leg back in. So we're stacking our ankle underneath our knee. If you chose the option to interlace the fingers, let's do the other index finger in front this time. If you're not sure, whichever one doesn't feel natural. And then we're doing those knee circles again. Relax the shoulders. One more big breath. And then let's switch directions. Good, we'll release that leg back down. And then let's find our shoulder circles again, letting those arms just rest down by our sides. Can you invite the bottoms of the shoulder blades to squeeze together just as much as the tops? And then let's switch directions. Maybe slowing those circles down just a bit. 2 more breaths here. Good. Now we're going to turn over to the side so that our right leg is forward. And then our left leg is the one that's behind. So we're going to try to stack our knee underneath our hip. And we'll keep the top of the back foot down to start. If that doesn't feel good in your body, though, you can also tuck those toes. And we're going to try to reach that left heel to the wall behind us. We'll stack our right knee over top of our right ankle. Gently press down through that right heel. And then that right arm can grasp around the chair. And then we're going to extend through our fingers, reaching our left arm forward as we inhale. And then exhale, let's reach that arm back. Don't forget about the legs. We're pressing down through that right heel, plugging our right femur bone in towards our body as we reach back through that left heel. And next time you have that left arm up, let's hold here, extending through the fingers. Reach that left heel back. One more breath. And then exhale to release. Let's switch sides now. Turning over to the other side of the chair. So our left leg is forward. Our right leg is back. You bring the top of the foot down if that feels okay with your body. And then sliding that leg back as far as you can. We're aiming to try to get that knee underneath the hip. If it doesn't happen, that's just fine. Try to get that left knee over top of your ankle. And then when you're ready, we're extending through those right fingertips. Exhale, reach those fingertips as far back behind you as you can. But we want to try to resist the temptation to let those shoulders rotate. Keep pressing down through that left heel. pull that left femur bone back. Big deep breath. Next time that right arm's up, let's pause here. Extend through those fingers. Good, release, and then let's find the front edge of our chair again. Option to take a break here. Maybe you want to internally and externally rotate those legs again, widening the feet, and then letting those knees fall down one at a time. Good, we're going to go over to the right again. So our right foot's forward, our left foot's back. Option to tuck the toes this time. And then maybe you can move that left foot back a little bit farther this time. We're reaching that left heel to the wall behind us, bracing ourselves on the chair with that right arm. And then again, let's inhale, reach those fingertips forward. This time we're going to do circles. So we're going to reach a little bit over towards that front corner of our mat, that right corner. Extend through those fingertips. If it feels okay for the shoulders, we're going to reach that arm all the way back. If this variation doesn't feel very good in your shoulder, you can go back to that one where we just reached forward and back. So we're twisting our body over towards the right, towards that right knee, as we ground down through that right heel, plug that right femur bone in, reach that left heel back. Try to resist the temptation to follow and rotate with that arm. Try to keep those shoulders pointing forward, and it's just the arm reaching back. Last circle here. Maybe slowing the movement down. Take a break if you need one, and then we'll repeat on the other side. So our left foot will be forward, knee over top the ankle. Option to reach those right toes back if that feels good. Extend that right heel to the wall behind you. Maybe you can slide that right foot back a little bit further than we did in our last chair lunge. When you're ready, we're going to extend through those fingertips and then twist towards the chair. Find those big circles with our right shoulder now. That feels okay. We're coming back to that other variation we just did. Inhaling forward and back. We're grounding down through that left heel, plugging that left femur bone towards your body as you reach through that right heel. One more big breath here. Good, and then we'll come back to the front edge of our chair. Take a moment to windshield wiper those legs if that feels good. And then we're going to widen our feet nice and wide. Take our hands to either knee. And then we're going to dip from side to side. So our shoulder is going to dip towards center. And then our other shoulder will gently press down into the knees, press down into the feet. We want our knees stacked over top of our ankles. You can stay with this variation if you'd like, or if you want to add on, we're going to reach across the body, so reaching towards the floor. The left hand reaches towards the right toes, and then opposite. Option to stay with this variation, or you could also float that arm up and over. So the right hand reaches towards the left foot and then opens up. Left hand reaches towards the right foot and opens up. We're grounding down through those sit bones. Let's do it one more time on each side. Whatever variation feels best for you today. Good, and then whenever you're finished, we'll heel toe those feet back in so that they're hip width apart. And then bring those arms to about shoulder height. And then let's reach them back behind us, grabbing for our chair. So without letting our rib cage lift, we're trying to keep our ribs over top of our pelvis. We'll squeeze the elbows, the shoulders together. Keep the back of the neck long. 2 more breaths. Trying to relax any tension or holding that you feel. Good. And then with your next inhale, let's reach those arms forward. We're going to cross our left arm over our right, reaching for our shoulder blades. And then keeping the rib cage down, we're going to lift the shoulders up. Lift the elbows up. Exhale, lower them. With your next breath, inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower. Find a pace that works well for you. Trying to keep those ribs from lifting up. 1 more breath here. And then we're going to open it up again. Take a moment to wiggle it out. Maybe roll out those shoulders. And then we'll reach those arms behind us again. Option to grab a hold of the chair, or maybe you want to interlace the fingers. We're squeezing those elbows together, back of the neck long. 2 more breaths. With your next inhale, let's sweep those arms forward again. And now this time the left arm is going to cross over the right, reaching for those shoulder blades. Ground down through those feet. Keep the ribs down as we inhale, reach the elbows up. Exhale, then we'll reach them back down. Find a pace that works well for you. You don't have to match mine. And 1 more big breath. And take a moment, wiggle it out. Good. Now we're going to take both hands, reach them out to the side, fingertips up. We'll have a slight bend in the elbow. And then we're going to press our palms away. So bend into those elbows. Keep the back of the neck long. Reach the fingertips up. Option to keep the head pointing forward or wherever is comfortable. Or you could also move it from side to side. 2 more breaths here. You need to take a break, that's just fine. And then release. Take a moment, shake it out. Notice if you feel any new sensations. We'll take our arms out to either side again. Option to keep the knees bent, or you could also extend the legs. Another option is you could take your hands to your chair or just one hand to your chair. So if you have your legs extended, we want to gently press those heels down, pull our heels in towards our body. We're going to hinge from the hips here. So our chin is tucked in. We're lengthening through the spine. Option to hover just above the knees, or maybe you want to take a break here, resting. With your next inhale, hinging from the hips, we're going to come back up, trying to keep that upper back or our whole back nice and straight here. If the arms get tired, remember you can hold on to your chair. Maybe you're flowing up and down with the breath, or just find a pace that works well for you. Keep that chin tucked in, back of the neck long. Ground down through those sit bones. Two more deep breaths here. Option to hover just above the thighs if that feels good for you, if you want to make it more challenging. And we'll use that inhale to come back up. Take a break. Step those feet in if you have them extended. And then let's roll out those shoulders. Good. We're going to come up to standing now. From here, we're going to find the back of our chair. So you can bring your chair to the front of your mat, so the back of it's facing you. We'll take our hands to either side of the chair and then walk our feet back. We'll get a sense our feet are underneath our hips, and then take a small step forward. So our feet are a little bit more forward than our hips, and we can press down into those heels and reach our hips further back than our feet. We'll hug those outside edges of our armpits in towards our body. Relax the neck. Reach your rib cage up towards the ceiling. You could find stillness here. Maybe you want to bend into the knees. I'll take 2 more deep breaths, or if you want to come out any sooner, you can go right ahead. When you're ready to come out, we're going to walk those feet in towards our chair, pressing down into those hands. Take a moment, wiggle it out. And then we're going to turn our chair to the side so that we can stand beside it. And then we're going to take our yoga block or our blanket, towel, whatever you have to step on, and we'll bring it right beside the chair. We'll have one hand on the chair to support us, the one that's closest to the chair. And then the foot that's closest to the chair is going to step on. You can keep these toes on the floor if you'd like, or if you want to work on the balance, maybe floating those toes off. And then whatever you're stepping onto, we're going to press down into that heel. We want to try to stack this hip over top of our ankle. Remember, you can step those toes down at any time. If you want to make it more challenging, you could always take your hands off the chair. We're really pressing down into that supporting heel. You had an option to stay like this, or if you want to make it more challenging, we're going to start to lift and lower this leg now. Actually, let's just take a moment and step off. Shake it out. See if you can feel the difference from side to side. And then we're going to switch sides. So your option to just move the block, or if you'd prefer, you can come to the other side of your chair. One hand on our chair. Start with our toes on the floor. And then we're pressing down into that heel that's on our object. Trying to stack that hip over top of our ankle. Option to float those toes off, or maybe the fingertips come off. We're pressing down through that heel. Relaxing the shoulders. Being mindful that we're not gripping with the toes. We're finding that strength through pressing that heel down. And one more deep breath here. Good. And then exhale to release. Take a moment to shake it out if you'd like. We'll move that off to the side for a moment and then flip our chair around. We'll find the back of our chair again. We're going to stack our right hand over our left and then walk our feet back. So both hands are on the left side of the chair. We'll find that downward dog. And once your feet are underneath your hips, you'll take that small step forward and then press down into those heels. Reach the hips back. Hug the outside edges of your armpits in towards your body. Soften in the jaw. Option to bend into the knees. We want our rib cage reaching up towards the ceiling and the neck relaxed here. When you're ready to come out, we'll walk those feet forward, pressing down into the hands. Take a moment to shake it out. And then we'll turn our chair again so we're at the side of it. And then this time we're going to want to make sure that we have a little bit of space between our chair and our block. So the foot that isn't on the block is going to be between the chair and the block. Whatever you're stepping onto, you want to make sure your heel is fully supported. The toes can be off if they need to be. And then pressing down into that heel. Option to keep those toes on, or maybe you want to float them off. You can do any of those variations we just did, or if you'd like to add on, we're going to lift and lower this other leg that's not on our object. So with our free hand, we're going to take it to that hip. And then we're going to feel as if we're pressing our hip into our hand as we press down into that heel. As we do that, this leg is going to lift. There's going to be this teeter-totter action. Keep pressing down into that heel as this foot lowers. So you can keep your hand on your chair the whole time. And then we're pressing our hip into our hand as we gently lower and lift this opposite leg. And then notice, is your hip going out to the side? Can you try to keep that hip stacked over top of your ankle? Can you keep your kneecap relaxed? One more deep breath here. If you need to take a break, that's just fine. And then whenever you're finished, taking a moment to shake it out. And then we'll find the back of our chair again. It's going to take our left hand now on top of our right, both hands to the back of the right side of the chair. And then we'll walk our feet back. Once they're underneath our hips, take that small step forward. Press down into those heels, reach your tailbone up towards the ceiling as you hug those outer edges of your armpits in towards your body. You can think about having a clutch purse in your armpit, and you're trying to keep that purse from falling out. So you're hugging those armpits in towards your body. You always have the option to wiggle, maybe bend into those knees. 2 more breaths here. You need to come out sooner, that's just fine. Listen to your body. And then we'll walk those feet in towards our chair, press down into those hands. Take a moment to wiggle it out. And then we'll come to the other side now. So we want our free hand that's going to be stepping onto the block, that same side, on the opposite side of the chair. Here. You can keep your hand on the chair at all times. You can keep your toes on the chair, your toes on the floor at all times if you want. Doing any of those variations from the first version. We want to try to keep that hip over top of our ankle as best we can get a sense of by driving that heel down. If you want to start moving, we're going to keep pressing that heel down to start to lift this opposite leg. So we're pressing our heel down to feel as if our hip is driving into our hand. Try to keep your kneecap relaxed. Noticing if one side's maybe a little easier than the other. And we're trying not to just swing this hip up using the momentum. We're driving that heel down to lift this opposite leg. Last one here. And then stepping off when you're ready. We'll shake out those legs. And then you can move that object off to the side so that you don't trip on it. And then we'll come to the back of our chair again. So bringing the chair to the top of our mat. We'll stand behind our chair with our feet a little wider than hip width apart. And we'll come into our hip shimmy. Shifting from side to side, keeping the legs straight. And then let's pause on one side, driving down into those heels. So we will want to try to keep our toes light so that they can lift. And we're pressing down into those heels. Let's switch sides now. Good, and then coming back to center. Take a moment to shake out those legs if you'd like. And then we're going to grab a hold of our strap, scarf, belt, whatever you have nearby. And then we're going to measure it the width of our arm. We're going to bring it out in front. Option to have your feet right underneath your hips, or if you liked that variation we just did with your feet a little wider apart, or you can shift from side to side, you could do that too. And then we're bringing our arms forward, shifting our weight back into our heels. And then we're going to feel like we're pulling our object apart. And then let's start to move the knuckles away from each other. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. And we're going to start to lift and lower our arms. So the shoulder blades are squeezing together. Those knuckles are reaching apart. We're trying to keep our rib cage from lifting as we lift those arms. Keep grounding down through those heels. Next time those arms are up, let's pause here. And then we're going to move from side to side with our arms. So let's move our arms over to the left to start, grounding down through those heels. And then back to center. If you want to take a break to rest those shoulders before we switch sides, go right ahead. And then you know what we're going to do. We're going to move over towards the right now. So we're finding that resistance pulling the strap apart. Knuckles are reaching away. Ground down through those heels. And then exhale it back to center. Take a moment to relax, wiggle it out. Maybe you want to roll out those shoulders. And then let's bring our strap behind our back now. So it's about shoulder width apart. If your arms were resting down by your sides, it'd be about that length. And then same thing, let's pull the strap apart, reach the knuckles away from each other. Option to move the hands a little bit farther away from the back. Squeeze the elbows together. Maybe you want to move the hands a little from side to side. And then if your feet are a little wider than hip width apart, you can come back into that hip shimmy too, pressing down into those heels, shifting from side to side. 2 more deep breaths here. Good. When you're ready to come out, you can shake it out. And then we'll find a comfortable position in our chair. We're going to take our strap or our scarf, belt, whatever you have with you. And then I'll give you 2 options here. You can either just have that strap or whatever you have in either hand, like so. Or if you'd prefer to have one hand on the chair, you could tie a knot, or if you had a strap like mine, you could loop it through so that you just have your strap in one hand, and then you can have your other hand on your chair. So we're going to come to the front edge of our chair. I'll show this variation for a little bit, and then I'll show the other one. So we're going to have it, it doesn't really matter actually, whichever foot you have it around to start. We want it around that mound just underneath our toes, and that leg is going to be extended, and then our other knee is going to be bent. Our toes are going to be pointing up. We'll tuck our chin in, find length through the spine, and then as we inhale, we're going to reach that extended leg only as high as we can without letting our pelvis lift. So it's not even going to be as high as our knee. We're going to reach out through that heel, and as we exhale, we're going to lower back down, extending through that heel the whole time. But we're finding that resistance. So as we reach through that heel, we're also pulling back with either one or both hands with our strap. Relax the neck, the jaw. We're going to do one more, extra slow here. Good. Next time your heel meets the floor, we're going to internally, externally rotate that leg. So the toes are going to reach from side to side. And then we're going to find external rotation. So let those toes reach all the way out to the side. We're going to move that whole extended leg in towards our body. So towards that bent knee. And then we're going to repeat that. So whatever variation feels best for you, hand on the chair or both hands on the strap. And we're going to reach through that heel and lift. Only going as high as you can feel. You can go without that pelvis moving, or your upper body wanting to lean back or forward. Relax the shoulders. Let's do one more. Good. Take a break. We'll move that strap for a moment. Widen our feet a little wider than hip width apart, and then let's windshield wiper those legs. Noticing if you can maybe feel a difference from side to side. And then we're going to switch legs. So we want that strap around the sole of the foot. Option to have one hand on the chair or both hands on your strap. We'll have our knee stacked over top of our ankle, and then our leg that's in our strap extended. When you're ready, we'll inhale, extend through that heel, only lifting to about maybe half as high as that knee. Maybe matching your movement to your breath, exhaling to lower. Make sure that chin is tucked in, back of the neck long, those shoulders are relaxed. If you get tired, you can take a break. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's do one more, nice and slow. Next time your heel arrives on the floor, take a moment to internally and externally rotate. And then let's pick that whole foot, move it in towards center. And then let the toes reach away from the body. So we're finding that external rotation. And then we're pressing out through that extended leg, through the heel. As we lift, you might notice your leg feels a little heavier in this variation. That's normal. Don't worry about how high it's going to lift. Only going as far as you can without leaning back. Extend through that heel, last one, extra slow. Soften those shoulders. Good. Move our strap off to the side now. And then take a moment to shake out that leg if that feels good. And then we'll bend our knees, widen our feet a little wider than hip width apart. Find that windshield wiper motion again. Bring some awareness into those legs. Just seeing if they feel a little different than they did at the beginning of the class. We'll walk those feet back in, hip width apart. And then choose if you just want to lift the leg or if you want to interlace those fingers again. And this time we're going to rotate our ankle. Spreading the toes. Try to relax the foot and lead the movement from the ankle. Relax the shoulders. And then we'll switch directions. Okay, if you have those fingers interlaced, let's take a moment to see if we can pause, keep that leg lifted, maybe extend it. Good, and then lower it down. Take a moment, and then we'll switch sides. If you have the fingers interlaced, let's do the other index finger in front. Spreading the toes and then circling out that ankle. Letting the foot just be relaxed. Softening in the shoulders. And then we'll switch directions. Softening the jaw. Option to see if we can hold that leg there without the hands. Maybe straighten out that leg. Good. And then release it down. Now we're going to take our hands out in front, interlace our fingers, and then we're going to finish off with our Tai Chi wrists. So just letting those wrists be loose, relaxed. And you can imagine that you're drawing figure eights. And then we'll switch directions. Okay, let's relax those hands down by our sides. And then we're going to finish off with some internal and external rotations of our arms. So let's invite the movement to lead from the elbow, reaching those elbow pits up towards the ceiling and then down towards the floor. Maybe letting those arms lift up at a few different angles. Continuing with those nice big deep breaths. Back of the neck long here. And one more big breath. As we exhale, let those arms release down by our sides. And then find a comfortable position to relax in. Maybe you want to find the back of your chair, cover up with a blanket. Or another option would be to come to laying on the floor with your feet resting up on the chair. with maybe a blanket underneath the thighs. If you want to do that option, you would have your hips just beside the chair and then swing your feet up onto it. And then place something for underneath the head. If it's comfortable, we'll close the eyes. Invite the tongue to soften away from the roof of the mouth and the lower hinge of your jaw to relax. Inviting any tension to melt away from the shoulders. Inviting the arms to be heavy and relaxed. Inviting all the layers of the belly to soften. Inviting a sense of ease into the hips, the backs of the legs, the fronts of the legs. Breathing in a sense of ease. Breathing out a sense of release, a sense of heaviness. Inviting any tension or holding in the feet to just soften as you breathe out. And when you feel ready, we'll start to invite some small movements back to the body. The eyes are closed, just keeping them closed, taking a few more deep breaths, working your way up into bigger movements, becoming aware of the sounds around you. And then when you feel ready, opening up the eyes, taking your time to get up into a comfortable seated position. We'll take our hands out to either side, palms facing up. And then one last time, let's inhale, reach our arms up together. And then exhale, let's bring our palms down, bringing our practice into our hearts. I'd like to thank you for sharing your practice with me. The teacher in me sees the teacher in you. Namaste.